A very pleasant day to you, and I welcome you once again to this segment on newspaper review here on First Next News. I am King Sojalo. This is the time where I'll be putting you through all newspaper segments and headlines on all newspaper platforms within the country. Now we will be starting with the Matrix newspaper. Looking at the Matrix newspaper, there are so many trending headlines and interesting stories, which says friendship between Nigeria and UK will continue to grow. That is coming from President Tinubu. You find that in page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. Now, on the top of the Matrix, we have stories such as Nigeria balance of payment declines to $14.04 billion in 2025. That is coming from CBN. Now, still on the Matrix, attack on Tinubu. I won't be bullied into silence. That is coming from Dele Mamodu fires back at Omokri FFK. That you find that in page 3 of the Matrix newspaper. Now, in page 9, struggle for justice is just beginning, Manami says after regaining freedom. Now, in page 3 as well of the Matrix, opposition will struggle to beat Tinubu in FCT in 2027. Wiki says Saudi Arabia announces Friday as ill failed amid regional tension. You find that in page 2 of the Matrix newspaper. Cutback citizens recording police in public. Cutback citizens recording police in public. You find that in page 3 as well. That is, as a citizen, you have the right to record the activity of any police individual in terms of harassment and thereabout. Now going straight to the Daily Independent. On the Daily Independent, highlighted stories such as Maiduguri bombing. Maiduguri bombing. You have AU6 global action against terrorism in Nigeria. AU6 global action against terrorism in Nigeria. You find that in page 29 of that newspaper platform. Now, the left side, we have in page 7, Iswap asks King Charles to address right violations during Tinubu UK visits. Now, still on that, government invade institutes, abduct 4 farmers in Ibadan. You find that in page 6 of the Daily Independent. Now, on the top, we have long-acting breakthrough HIV injectable arrive in Nigeria. Good news for those who are positive of that virus. Now, we still have on the Daily Independent, ADC demands action for el-rufai after 30 days in detention. ADC demands action for el-rufai after 30 days in detention. Now, we also have Labour Party fix May 23 for 2027 presidential primaries. You find that in page 6. Sanusi to lead Kano Salah Dubai as government tightens security. You find that in page 6 as well of the Daily Independent. Now we also have 5G. Nigeria excitement drops as network deployment tracks. Now going straight to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian, we have AU relies support against terrorists as CDS decrease enemies within. You find that in page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Tinubu King Charles hold interfaith dialogue deepens ties. You find that in page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have ministry operation books open for probe, says Umahi. You find that in page 7 of the Guardian as well. FG to transform correctional centers into food production hub. That is in page 30. Lagos, 6 commissioner said to resign for 2027 elections. You find that in page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Now going straight to the Daily Monitor. Not much on the Daily Monitor, but we have stories such as the trending stories from Anambra, where the governor sacks all political appointees. Now, highlighted stories such as Tinubu wins rest until peace is restored in all parts of Nigeria, coming from the Vice President Shatima. Says no religion sanctions killing of the innocents. Pay sympathy visit to victims of Monday bombing blast in Maiduguri. Take ownership of fight against Boko Haram. Iswap CDS urge Borno UB. Now going straight to the First Daily. On the First Daily, we have highlighted stories still in Maiduguri bombing. Military chief storm Borno to contain escalating terror attacks. Military chiefs storm Borno to contain escalating terror attacks. On the top, we have stories such as terrorist death tolls hit 80 as troops repel attack in Borno. Now, looking at other trendy stories, King Charles hosts historical Nigeria state visit after 37 years. On the bottom line, we have sachet water hits 100 naira in Imo Ahmed production shutdown. Wow, that is a very terrible and very, very terrible story. Now, a sachet water, pure water, is now it costs 100 naira in Imo State. That is a very sad news there, and not a friendly news to the people and residents of Imo State. Now, court affirms Nigeria right to record police on duty. Yes, court affirms Nigeria right to record police on duty. Crisis rocks obedient movement as financial director resigns. Now, going straight to the blueprints. On the blueprint, we have stories coming from the Middle East. Again, Middle East tension. Nigeria economic strong enough to withstand global shock. That is coming from Kaduso. Nigeria economic strong enough to withstand global shocks. Now, there's not much on the blueprint, but I'll take one before we leave. 2027. Akume loyalists lead strategic partnership to unseat Governor Ali. Now, at the bottom, troops neutralize Iswap commanders over 80 terrorists in Borno. Now, going straight to the Nigeria Tribune. On the Nigeria Tribune, Malami factory battle. Military kills 80 Iswap members in Borno. Wow, that is an interesting one there, which you will find in page 3. Now, on the left side, we have Wike PDP action misses convention date sacrosanct. You find that in page 3. Now, on the top, we have Maduri explosions, no cause justice, killing on innocent people. Shetima says in page 25, which you will find that story. So grab your copy of the Nigeria Tribune to get more of this story. Before I leave the Nigeria Tribune, I also have crane adoption. Police says 2 out of 4 cocoa farmers rescued. You find that in page 2. Now, going straight to the Punch newspaper, highlighted stories such as Nigeria, Britain set for fresh security alliance. Find that in page 2. Nigeria, Britain set for fresh security alliance. Now, on the top, we have Sultan declares Friday hailed police and SCDC mobilizes. You find that in page 7. Now, on the top as well, medicine shortage long amid US-Iran conflict. Medicine shortage long amid US-Iran conflict. You find that in page 2. Imported petrol intercut local supply by 94 naira. You find that in page 1. Still in that, on the top, in page 21, rather, highway danger or your students beg farmer for speed breakers. Yes, on the bottom line, I take one story before I head to the next segment platform. Nigeria student arrests with 49 million cocaine in South Africa. That is a very terrible story there. Nigeria student arrested with 49 million naira cocaine in South Africa. Find that in page 4. So grab your copy of the Punch and get more of that story. Now, going straight to the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun, we have stories such as ACF give damning bandits on security. ACF gives damning bandits on security. Now, that is the highlighted stories on the Daily Sun. Now, on the top, we have ex-Abia civil servant in pains over 13 months unpaid pension. Plead with government OT to pay them. Recently, where the governor made an attribute of paying civil servants and also pensioners their owed debts. Now, another story saying a civil servant coming out to beg the Abia State governor of unpaid 13 months pension. You find that in page 29 of that newspaper platform. Now, in page 4, which you find at the bottom, gunmen kidnap 4 cocoa farmers in Ibadan. Go grab your copy of the Daily Sun for more, to get more of that story. Now, the highlighted stories on the Nation newspaper. On the Nation newspaper, we have Boob, Splendid Mark hosting of Tinubu wife by King Charles. Boom. Plendio mark hosting of Tinubu wife by King Charles. 18 terrorists clash by troops in Borno night bombing. 80 terrorists crushed by troops in Borno night bombing. You will find that in page 3 on the top. Shettima pledged decisive action. LP to pick presidential candidates May 23. Find that in page 5, which also say tomorrow is Eid al-Fitr. Sultan Abubakar declares. You find that in page 14 of the Nation newspaper. Now moving ahead to the New Telegraph. On the New Telegraph, we have stories such as bomb blast, troop kills over 80 terrorists in procession strike. Troops killed over 80 terrorists in procession strike. You find that in page 7, 4, and 28 of the New Telegraph newspaper. I think that is a good news from our Nigeria military troops. Now, still on that Middle East crisis, Israel strike world's largest gas field in Iran. You find that in page 3 and 6 of the New Telegraph. King Charles will receive Tinubu wife with full military honor. That is in page 3 and 30 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Now going straight to the Daily Trust. On the Daily Trust, which is our last for today, on the Daily Trust, on our latest stories, man loses 4 sons to Maiduguri explosion. That is a very sad one there. Man loses 4 sons to Maiduguri explosion. Very terrible, tragic story. On the bottom line, we have why Bala Ahmed foot drops on defection. You find that in page 3 of that newspaper, which is the Daily Trust. Now on the top, we have our new BVN rules with curb fraudulent transaction. Our new BVN rules with curb fraudulent transaction. Sultan declares Friday fits. Still on that newspaper platform, you find that in page 7. Now on page 8, Kano government clears Emir Sanusi for Salah Dubai. Kano government clears Emir Sanusi for Salah Dubai. Now on the left side, Iran war crude oil price inch to $110 billion. You find that in page 14 of that newspaper platform. Adopters of FCT communities members send account details for ransom. You find that in page 16 of that newspaper platform. Now, the last one, Justo for Kwara governorship intensifies. You find that in page 14 of the Daily Trust. If you want to get more and read more of that news, go get your Daily Trust newspaper, and that is where we come to wrap up of this segment. Many thanks for being with me. Many thanks for watching. Many thanks for staying tuned. Till I come your way next time, I remain your Opolos, Kings Ojalo. It's a bye for now.